It depends on how you're working on them and your purpose. So like for me, hard enduro is very technical in lots of different ways where we have to carry our front wheels. You know, I look at Graham Jarvis, Tim Coleman, Billy, all these guys, they can slow wheelie like the best in the world, you know? So clutch, throttle, coordination of body movements, finesse of the rear brake, coordinating the compression, all this stuff. It's like little bits and pieces of things we do all over the place. And then the other thing is, like, if you can practice stand-up wheelies, it's good to be comfortable with that front end really high in the air at slow speed, manipulating the clutch and throttle and the rear brake, and being like really far off the back just to get the rear tire up to certain spots. It's honestly like, there's no real defining how it makes you awesome. It's gonna like reveal itself in more technical situations sometimes. So I think it's something that anyone who's interested in technical dirt bike riding or trials or hard enduro or whatever, I don't think you can get good enough at the wheelies. And is it just a show off, useless skill? It could be if that's your only goal. For me, sometimes it is. Like, I want to just simply get better at wheelies, but I do believe that because my purpose of wanting to get better at technical stuff is there and alive, it translates. Any skill that you can come up with on a dirt bike is probably good for hard enduro. Like, there's no skill that you don't use. It's a really weird sport like that. It's definitely harder to not spin with the harder tire with a lot of air in it. But I got to that lower RPM quicker, and that actually allowed me to pick the front end up with no wheel spin. Definitely harder to get no spin. A little bit of spin there. That was better, just a little bit of spin, maybe a half a turn of spin. Let me see if I can get one more with no spin.
Mention spin one more time.
It's kind of a fun little challenge here with a hard tire. To really wait for that transfer of weight here. That was better. It's kind of fun with more pressure in the tire. You can actually get the bike to change directions, whereas when you have the flatter tire, it's easier to pick it up, but because it is on the rim, it wants to stand you straight up and just kind of, you have to like manhandle it a little bit more and lean more to get it to actually turn. So there's benefits to having both. Definitely harder on a harder tire, but it can be done. And it's actually a good calibration of how fine-tuned your clutch and throttle and power delivery is, because the more I was able to get to a lower RPM quicker, the more the tire grabbed and got me up a little quicker. But it's like a fine line between almost stalling. I kind of want to try it one more time and just see if I can get no spin. It's tough, it's tricky. I'll try doing it standing up, and that should give me a little bit more weight transfer from front to rear, and I think that'll help me get the front end up with less spin. Now I'm getting the hang of it. So I haven't ridden this bike a whole lot either. That's another thing. I can get on all these bikes and do it, but to do it really well, takes me a few times to get warmed up. The clutch, this is a way different clutch that's on my bike. Everything about this bike is different than what I'm used to. But I've worked on my technique so much that I can kind of apply it on a lot of different bikes. Even though it feels awkward and it's more of a challenge for me, I could still do it. So I think the average person, you know, just pick what bike you're gonna do it on and just get used to that. And I mean, certain bikes are almost dangerous, like the 450s, but we'll try that next. All right, the 450 is definitely the most tricky of all the bikes, in my opinion. Unless you get the clutch really dialed. This one is super hairy and geared super tall. It's super stiff suspension, way different than all these other bikes that I've been doing this on. Sketchy, for sure. So the bike setup, this isn't set up for me, it's set up for a real heavy guy. It's a little different, but I'm still applying the same general concept here. But because it's geared so tall, it's like on the verge of flaming out. Like, and unless I keep the revs really high, which is sketchy on the concrete here, the 450 is not what I recommend starting on or learning on. I actually, believe it or not, the first bike that I ever slow wheelied was a 2008 CR450F Honda motocross race bike. And I had been practicing on my trials bike a little bit, but the first big bike I really did a slow wheelie on was my 450. Honestly, it felt like it was way easier to keep running than this one. This one flames out, I think, because it's geared super tall for high-speed desert stuff. That makes a really big difference. So again, bike setup is really important, but you see the concept of getting the front tire up is basically the same. I'm kind of delivering power as I'm compressing the front end, letting the clutch out as I go back. But on this one, I'm like almost not even letting the clutch out all the way. It's very, very sketchy. Did I say it, mention it was sketchy? All right, this one I'm really not used to, and there's not as much power, so I'm gonna have to really build power as I'm compressing here. Everything's delayed on this bike. You gotta kind of keep the revs up more than you think. I actually think it's harder in a lot of ways on this bike. Pretty good. Super weird shaved seat on it. Super awkward for me, but it's the same exact concept that I've been working on and teaching people. You could do it the other way. You could like power it up at speed. You could definitely do that, but this is going to allow you to keep it slow right from the very start if you're really interested in doing slow wheelies. But then the balance is trickier. It's just all these bikes feel a little different, but at the same time there's like a common thread between all of them. So just got to build power while you're compressing the front end, and then release the clutch as you're throwing your weight back, and that's what gives you that pop and that jolt. The power is pretty tractable on these little 4-strokes, so it kind of grabs when it grabs, as long as you let the clutch all the way out. You don't even need a full-size yard or anything. You can just use the street out in front of your house to practice sometimes, as long as there's no cars coming by, and maybe have some supervision and some spotters for you. Be good at hitting your rear brake so that it can take over when you make big mistakes. It's true. I'm taller, right? I'm like 5'11"-ish, but Sam's taller than me and he can't wheelie as good, but he's not as obsessed with it. And honestly, your center of gravity is a little higher. There's reasons why you could argue that being taller is almost just as hard sometimes to balance. Your limbs are longer, they're more weight, so every little movement affects the bike a little bit more. As far as just getting the front end up, that's a fear that you're gonna have to get past, especially if you're practicing in your driveway. Like, it's a scary thing, and you're gonna have to break past that barrier of picking the front end up high enough, fast enough, in order to kind of keep it going slow, as far as like getting good at slow wheelies. I can teach you all these exact moves and all the coordinations one step at a time, but there is an element of not being afraid. And I think it's why certain people who don't even have maybe some of the clutch work and all this stuff dialed started picking their front end up, hitting the rear brake, and realizing that, okay, I can do that. So it's scary for some people, even though they might not even work on all the fine-tuned control and stuff like that. There's guys who, you'll see it in the comments section, they were doing it 50 years ago on old junky bike, and it's true. Like, some guys really did do it like that back in the day. So I think a lot of it is your willpower and your vision and your purpose and your determination. It's one of those things, it's like either you want to do it or you don't. Like for me as a kid, it was, my dad was always challenging me to the next thing. Who knows what the reward was, but there was always like seemingly some sort of a reward system for me as a young kid. Like, if you can do this, then we'll go riding here, or we'll go down south. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe incentivizing yourself and then giving, you just got to want to do it. That was actually pretty cool. Ultimately, it would be good to start everything when you're super young, on the early stages, on smaller bikes. But not everyone starts there, so a lot of us start on bigger bikes. I will say, I do think there's a benefit to having like a Sur-on or something that doesn't even have a clutch that you can touch the ground on. I do think there's a benefit to that, so you're not so high up in the air. These things can be kind of intimidating, and they can be kind of jumpy, especially if you have them geared really low like I do. I don't think there should be any laws or rules about it, but I think you should take wherever you're at and you're riding into consideration and try to be as logical and smart as you can about it, because yeah, I mean, it still happens to me where I'll change my rear tire and I put my wheel back on, I forget to pump the rear brake, and I go over it and flip on my back. Like, it happens to me like 3 times a year where I do that. I forget to pump the brake, flip over onto my back. And luckily it hasn't really been on the concrete too much, but I mean, even Graham Jarvis, you see him, he's flopped onto his back, onto logs, all kinds of stuff that's really nasty, and he's always trying to get better at wheelies. So like, it's the nature of it. You gotta be kind kind of tough to ride dirt bikes on a certain level or just be really, really good. On the lower CC bikes, the 2-strokes, they don't have as much low end torque. So it's just as easy to pop it up, but you're gonna have to be more active with the throttle hand and the clutch. Like you might have to slip a little bit more and keep the revs up a little bit more in order to control the wheel spin and keep the bike running. Depending on how the bike's tuned, it can be very challenging. I've done it, ridden wheelies for days on 150s, and it is more activity with the throttle hand and the clutch hand. It's definitely harder, so that's something to consider. You know, not everyone has their bike set up like I do. My bike is set up for going really slow speed, techie, it's geared really low. I like to set my stuff up so that it feels good on all the really most technical stuff, as opposed to like being able to go 50, 60 miles an hour on a fire road or the flowy trails. I would rather feel like a hero on the slow techie stuff and know that I'm gonna be a little bit safer and not stall the engine as easy. So that's why we run a little bit lower gearing, so that it's easier to do things at slow speeds. This is how we set these bikes up. Soft tires, a little less pressure in the tire, or a moose, grippier tires for one thing. All this stuff matters, and honestly most people's bikes that I get on, if I'm doing a clinic or something like that, they're coming to me wanting to learn techie slow speed stuff, and their bike's totally not set up for it. This is a big thing. So if you're serious about doing slow speed stuff, set your bike up properly for that stuff. It makes life way easier. No, it's not too heavy, it's just harder. It's just, well, it's not even necessarily harder, it's just different. The power's there. It's just you have to know how to manage it, but I don't recommend starting on a big adventure bike if you're gonna practice learning wheelies for most riders. All right, guys, it's totally understandable to have excuses and fears of why you can't wheelie, and I get it. I totally get it, but it can be done on just about any bike, even Harley Davidsons. You're not gonna see me doing it on a Sportster or a big, you know, Harley Davidson big bike, but it can be done, right? It can be done on a motorcycle, and we apply the same technique on all these different bikes that I just rode here. These are all off-road dirt bike style bikes. So you see sometimes I have no pressure in the tire, sometimes I have a gummy tire, sometimes it's a hard tire with a lot of pressure. Same concept. It's all on how we deliver the power to the ground and our transfer of weight. So I hope this one helped you guys take away a few excuses and give you some determination and willpower to go work on it. Hope you guys can get better at wheelies. Let me know down in the comments if you did, and we'll see you guys in the next one.